I was thinking, people say this all the time, so now what? I've been doing what I've been doing for, man, decades. It's what I have to do. Now, when do I get a chance to do what I want to do?
Well, and that's what we do here at Omega Wealth Private Capital. We help you get from the I have to's to, wow, I get to.
I'm Brad Johansson.
And I'm Joe Wilson, and welcome to another edition of Wise Money.
So glad you're back with us on Wise Money. Brad Johansson alongside Joe Wilson.
Another week.
The third.
Trace.
Omega Wealth Private Capital.
All right, buddy.
I'm hot. We'd like to transport you to exactly where we are. And the studio, as we are speaking, has no air conditioning, which I think gives us an idea to transport you to where you need to be in retirement.
Hopefully somewhere where they're air conditioned.
No, we had a gentleman who spoke to us. I don't know whether people know the name. Anthony Munoz? You might know the name Anthony Munoz. He had some talented kids. I mean, he's probably the greatest offensive lineman in the history of the NFL. But he also had some talented kids.
Hey, he did.
He gave us a thermostat change. You loved this. I want to go into retirement myths of what we're trying to move forward. But as we transport you into this feeling, I kind of want you to
turn it up.
I want you to turn it up.
Yeah, Anthony said he was watching his daughter. He never got involved in her games, and except when she was having a good game, slammed it, rebound, made a good something of that, he would just look at her and go. And I think that's what we want to do today. I want you to just sit there, and I want to turn up some pressure on you, and here's why. I think there's a lot of myths out there. We're going to help solve some of this when it comes to taxation.
Okay.
And when it comes to your money. And the number one myth I think that a lot of modern retirees are thinking right now, well, I'm going to make less money when I retire. You might make less money at the start, but depending on how much you saved, I would challenge you on that. I would say a majority of people we sit down with are shocked at the amount of money that they are going to have to one day take out from their IRAs and 401ks. When you start looking at what they have with Social Security and the dreaded RMDs, required minimum distribution, at 73, some of you, depending upon your age, might be 75, have to start taking money out of these retirement accounts. Otherwise, it's a 25% tax penalty. That was awful.
That was good.
Some of you have pensions. That adds into it. What about investment income?
Yeah.
What about interest off CDs and things of that nature? You start adding that up, and it starts cranking up the amount of money. Husband, wife, together, joint Social Security. We're starting to see many folks that are looking at making more money in retirement than what they did in their working years. Here's what they're not prepared for, the tax implications. The absolute amount of money that is sitting like a ticking tax time bomb that has just been compounding and compounding and compounding. Here's what also happens. The stack of all those money get higher. Many times you've lived in your home, it's paid off. There's no insurance to write off. You don't have the kids and the deductions there. Things look a little bit different. And so the net tax, we see so many folks are going, wow, I've saved all this money, but I want to give it to somebody else. I want to give it to my spouse when I die. I think this is an area people have to recognize. You're probably going to be making more than you think.
Okay, so I want to put this, we haven't used this in a minute, and it is important for a lot of you. WiseTaxBuild.com. WiseTaxBuild.com is what Joe has built as a tax calculator. In all of the accounts that he's just talking about, the 401ks, the 457s, the 403bs, that you have yet to pay taxes on. This calculator will give you an idea of what Uncle Sam wants now, a little bit later at RMDs, a little bit later if you want to pass it on to the next generation, and the strategies that you can use to make that number a little bit smaller. I say it all the time. I apologize. This number that's going to come up for you when you scan this QR code.
It can't be unseen.
you're going to have an eye popper, and it cannot be unseen. Do this now, because I'm going to get back to the book on this and why this is so significant. You ask me all the time, what's your favorite chapter? My favorite chapter in the book is chapter 4, because it's what advisors do not talk about, and that's the tax time bomb that you have in front of you.
Yeah, I think a lot of them we're starting to hear more and more about it for the longest, and some still aren't allowed to talk when it comes to taxes and tax planning. This is crucial because it is not what you have. It is truly what you get to keep. And the impact that all of these dollars that you saved in your 401k and your IRA, thank God for it. But when you start looking at all of that coming together and stacking up and the impact, here's something that recently happens. And I want to talk about this, and we'll just do that before we go to break. Myth number 2, the surprise tax on Social Security. I said that right, the surprise tax that hits many on Social Security. Forever, for the longest, Social Security was never taxed until Reagan, back in 83, said, hey, we need to make some of this taxable. We got to get some of this stuff under control. And then Clinton in 93, up to 85% of your Social Security will be taxed as income. Kind of crazy when you think about it. It's money you put out of you tax on in the beginning. Here's what I find interesting, that the income threshold for that, for married filing jointly, Bradley, is still only $44,000.
That's ridiculous.
You cross over
it hasn't changed.
You're looking at an 85% tax. Where does it hit most people? Here's what I found interesting. Had someone coming in recently, and they had put some money in a CD, certificate of deposit, and were realizing it was becoming the CD, certificate of depression, because it's coming due and the new rates are lower than what they were. Here's what I found interesting. $200,000. Carol was 71. She's single. 71, $200,000 in a CD, was getting 4%. Felt pretty good. It's $28,000 of interest. Boom shakalaka. That's some pretty good money. No risk. Love it. That's about, forgive me, $8,000 a year in CD interest. She was making $28,000 of Social Security. Forgive me. $8,000, 4%, $200,000, $8,000 in interest. Love it. Plus the Social Security, $28,000. Because the single threshold for Social Security tax is lower. It's $34,000. That CD absolutely kicked her into another chunk of having to pay taxes because her Social Security became taxable. Most of it at that point. She lost $1,760 to the federal tax, $400 at her state tax, and extra Social Security became taxed another $1,496. What she actually gets to keep out of that $8,000 of interest, because this was a surprise to her, is $4,344. I'm going to get 4. Are you really? You're going to get 8% because of a 4% rate. You're going to get $4,344. That is a problem because it's a surprise and it's hitting many folks. Saving in the wrong type of accounts and not understanding how the income that comes out, how it starts to stack your income, and all these little gotcha from our friend Uncle Sam, that's a challenge.
wisetaxbill.com, scan the QR code to be able to get an understanding of where you are. Then you're going to want to make a call. Call the number on your screen so we can book an appointment for you. How much is that going to cost me? It's complimentary. Your retirement readiness plan is on us, because this is what we do, is to try and help you be and stay retirement ready. Make the call now for yourself. What are the other myths that we're dealing with? We're turning up the temp, baby. Call the number on your screen. We'll be right back. There's a retirement tax trap that not too many people are talking about. Want to learn about it? We'll share on Wise Money next.
Do you remember the fun game of Battleship where your friend calls out B12, miss, and then B13, hit, you sank my battleship. Battleship's a fun game, but in retirement, that kind of guessing can absolutely sink you. Too many people are treating retirement like just calling out random coordinates, hoping that they hit something. But what about the defense? Could you just be 1 or 2 coordinates away from your battleship, your retirement being sunk? You cannot retire on luck. You have to retire on income. And I cover that in my book, The 5 Agreements to Be and Stay Retirement Ready. You need to develop a plan that provides an income engine, a place for you to get money when things are not always going good in the markets. Retirement isn't about guessing your way across the board. It's about creating an income engine that pays you constantly, even when life fires back. don't play Battleship with your future. Make sure your plan is able to withstand those dreaded hits. It's only going to take 3 minutes. I want you to go to owquiz.com. It's going to give you an idea of where you're standing right now on your Battleship journey, so you can be and stay retirement ready. Growing up, I loved playing the game of Monopoly with my friends and family. We would spend all night, sometimes on weekends, just playing that fun game. But the reality is retirement is very different than the game of Monopoly. You shouldn't be just going around every month collecting your $200 and hoping that you don't land on a property with a monster hotel or house on it. What about the dreaded chance card? You pick that thing out and it completely could wipe you out of the game. Your retirement needs a concrete written income plan. You need an income engine. Don't leave your future to chance. Find out if your retirement is just set up for a game of Monopoly, or do you have a written plan that'll help you be retirement ready? I want you to go to owquiz.com. It'll take you about 3 minutes, and it's going to put you on a path so you can be and stay retirement ready.
Glad you're with us on Wise Money. Brad Johansson, Joe Wilson III, Omega Wealth Private Capital. Thrilled to have you with us. I have to do this because it is clamoring. Could you stop writing such a popular book? People, my goodness, people are...
It's been pretty cool.
Big time. 5 agreements to be and stay retirement ready. You want a copy? Yep. We'll send it out to you. Scan the QR code. It covers all of the... Within the myths that you talked about, we're turning up the temp on trying to figure out how to debunk some of these myths. I'm going to make less money in retirement.
Many folks are over it.
Number 2 was?
Number 2 is the surprise tax on Social Security.
And we get surprised all the time.
Many people still think Social Security is tax-free, and that's...
Well, shoot, after the big, beautiful bill, it was like, hey, this is all going to be perfect, right? I don't have any problems with this.
Well, the big, beautiful bill has been great. The fact is how Congress approved it is it changed it a little bit. You're getting a nice deduction depending on where your income is and depending upon your age, that there can be a great benefit, but it's only lasting. Congress only approved it for 2 years.
And guess what?
We're almost half a year in. So it's understanding legislative risk that can change at the drop of a hat.
3rd retirement myth.
3. Everybody knows this guy. Zoom in on this guy right here. Good old Uncle Sam. There you go. They forget about his ugly wife, Aunt Irma. Aunt Irma. Yeah. At 65, you have to file and start Medicare. There are some big penalties if you don't do it, unless you're still working. The fact of the matter is there's a 2-year look back upon your income, not just your income at working, income on interest, income on CDs, income on anything you've got coming in. It can start stacking against you pretty quick. And if you're over certain thresholds, that's when ugly Aunt Irma. Do you ever have an ugly aunt? She's not around anymore. No, she's not watching this. There was a Wilson that through that line, it was, she had that big mole with the hair sticking out. And she's the sweetest lady. I don't
believe this.
I'll tell you, it's true.
All right, go.
And so what's interesting is that was the one that, always wanted you to taste her food, and we just couldn't want to do it. So Aunt Irma's the same way, right? And based upon your income, the myth is as you're making money, as you're earning, that starts to stack. And you can find yourself at a significantly higher Medicare premium. What is that called? A tax. And it's coming out of your savings because you have to pay it. And this fascinates me that we just don't hear enough about this. So many people will be like, hey, at 63, I'm going to retire early at 63, and I'm going to take out $500,000 of my savings, and I'm going to go buy a house in Florida. Okay. Are you aware of how that will impact you going forward? Well, I've got the money. I'm just going to take it. And there's no thought or consideration, the surprises of, wait, what? Wait, what? What do you mean, Irma? And you look at the premium that's going to be required, and it lasts for 2 years. It's not something you want to mess with if you don't have to. And if you're going to make the decision, do it with knowledge, because many people get surprised. Nay. Did you ever have a bad surprise party?
Uh-huh.
You want to talk about it?
No. This is kind of like Aunt Irma and the mole. I don't have any interest in...
I had one recently. I turned 50.
This is a bad surprise party?
Well, it was a great party, but it was bad of what happened. So I walk in, it snowed that day in the office and it was slick and I just hit 50 and I'm realizing that and I'm walking in, folks, my foot hits this little ramp, the back of our office, my foot goes out, my bag and everything goes forward. I go face down, land on the corner, my glass is sprayed. I still have a scar right here, blood everywhere. I get upstairs, there's no one in the office. I'm like, where did everybody go? And I turn the corner, surprise! And I've got blood just dripping down my face. It was hysterical. I hate bad surprises. And yet I think there are so many folks that are getting bad surprises when it comes to retirement because you've only been focusing on accumulation and growth and you have no idea when you take the money out, the rules and how that works shifts. And it is not what you have, it is only what you get to keep. All of these surprises matter.
Okay, we've had the book up and I want to go back to this because the taxes matter. It is wisetaxbill.com where you try to understand.
Can we say it how I like to say it on the radio? Let's say how we do it on the radio.
Wisetaxbill.com. That's how Joe likes to say it.
Love doing it that way.
Wisetaxbill.com. That's how Joe likes to say it. You will not like the number that comes up when you do this. Scan the QR code. Knowledge is power. Clarity is an understanding to bring confidence so that you can be able to have a little bit more control and try and find comfort. Wisetaxbill.com. You need to know that this is not all your money, that Uncle Sam is your partner. He's not a friendly partner. Go to this, have an understanding. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about this right after this.
What is the number one fear around those entering retirement and just having retired? What is it?
The number one fear is that you're going to run out of money before you die.
We have a window right now where there's some amazing tools where we can disinherit the IRS from that pot of money. So many times you've been saving and doing things, and that might be the right tool for that season. So when's the best time to prepare for rain? When it's sunny out.
When it's sunny.
You don't wait till it's storming. 2001, 2002, 2020. We go back through here the last couple of decades. There's going to be bad times in the market. Where do you go to get your income? Your retirement cannot sustain that. The only way those work out is if you retire and there are several good years right after you walk out of the office. You have to control what you can control, and you cannot control what happens in the markets. You get one shot at retirement, and if you're missing one of these agreements, that can crush you. You cannot go into distribution years with the same tools and hope. That's not a plan. Remember the game Space Invaders? Little ships falling down the screen and you're moving left and right, trying to fire back, just trying to make sure they don't catch you. You clear one row and here comes another wave and you start to feel the pressure and worrying, oh my goodness, am I gonna be able to survive this level of the game? That's exactly how retirement can feel to you if you don't have a plan. What happens when taxes and inflation and economic events and your market volatility hits you in your portfolio? It feels the same way. Many times they just keep coming one after the other. And a lot of times the game is just like retirement. You don't even know where your hidden risks are. One bad move and boom, game over. I talk about this in chapter 2 of this book, understanding where your hidden risk in your current plan could be hiding and jeopardizing your retirement future. You can't defend against what you can't see. And unlike Space Invaders, where you get extra lives in retirement, you get one shot to get this right. Don't wait for the next wave of attacks to hit. Why don't you take a few minutes right now and go to owquiz.com. Get an idea of where you are and start uncovering those hidden risks that could be lurking in your retirement plan.
Glad you're with us on Wise Money, turning up the temp, folks, on the retirement myths that we move forward on. This is probably, I'll throw the book up for a moment. I'm going to go back to tax bill. I'm going to throw the book up just because you guys want this. The 5 agreements to be and stay retirement ready. Joe is sending this out. Scan the QR code. Let's get to the myth. We don't have a whole lot of time. Get to the next myth on where we're going. And ladies and gentlemen, let me present the Reverend Joe Wilson III.
God.
We like to be who we are. You're preachy, and you were very preachy on this at Flourish. You're passionate about this.
I am, because I think people are asleep. I think if this is coming to news to you, maybe it's the first time you've watched our program. If you've watched it for a while, you probably have an idea what's coming.
Yeah.
I feel this is an area that our industry just fails. And we fail because it's not a fun conversation to have. But when you look at the reality of future taxes, where we are right now, third lowest bracket, the tax laws are as favorable as they ever have been. And so many of you are coming in, and the majority of your money, I'm talking about majority, a ton, is sitting in tax qualified, meaning you have yet to pay taxes on it and you pay when it comes out. I want to go through some numbers. This is what that 𝑦𝑡axbill.com will help you see. It's some things you can't unsee. But as you look through it, if you look at someone that has about $1.5 million at the age of 73 when they're required to take RMDs,
Okay.
this guy is going to start with $56,000 a year. You have to take it out. Stack that with Social Security, stack that with everything else, starts to raise up. Manageable, doable. How about at 80? If you're growing 7%, if the market is growing 7% through that time, that account has gone to $1,780,000. But it's not all your money. And Uncle Sam is going to say your RMD is now $88,000. Now you stack on the husband's Social Security. Now you stack on the wife's Social Security. And what if, 𝐵, taxes with our debt at the level that it is starts to crank up a little bit and they just go 2 or 3% more? Are you going to run out of money? Probably not. But the impact that's going to have on you is big. But here's the deal. Rarely, hear me, do couples die together. The worst tax bracket in the U.S. tax code is the single bracket. I think it is criminal that my parents have been married almost 53 years. And when one of them passes, the following year, they're going to be put back into the worst possible tax bracket. That's wrong, but it's the law right now. And the widow's tax is huge. So let's use that example. At the age of 80, a $1.7 million IRA, forced to take out $88,000. You got some Social Security coming in there. All of a sudden, that gentleman passes it on to his wife. Here's the impact. If she's taking out the same amount of money, and she's going to lose probably lose her Social Security, get the step up in his.
Yep.
But she doesn't want to take a pay cut. She's going to have to increase the amount of money she takes out of that IRA to fill the gap. The issue is she's no longer in a married filing jointly situation. She's in a higher tax bracket. If you're one of those folks that says, I'm not going to worry about it, my kids can pay it, well, that's your choice. Kids are going to have 10 years under the new rule to take it out. But I would ask you, are you prepared if you're the surviving spouse to be hit with that level of tax? When you do the math to keep the income the same, we ran an example. I'm happy to go over this with you when you come into the office. If you want to call and have a Zoom, our team can go over this with you. This impacts people mightily because you're looking at going at almost a 55% tax increase. That is massive. Will you run out of money? No, but why? When you can take steps right now and understand there are so many amazing tools that could take some of this at the lowest tax bracket and get rid of this guy who can change the rules whenever he wants. This is the time to act, and people are not paying attention to it.
Got to take a quick break. Go to wisetaxbill.com, find out where you are. We'll be right back after this.
I remember on Friday nights growing up, our friends, we would go to the arcade playing the amazing Pac-Man game. The question for you, the modern retiree, are you just out there chasing dots and hoping to get as many as you can before the dreaded ghost catch you? Pac-Man is a fun game, but in retirement, that approach can absolutely eat you alive. A lot of people just head into retirement thinking, if I can keep moving and just dodging this bullet, I'm going to be fine. But what about those big risks that sneak up on you like those ghosts? Taxes, market crashes, healthcare crisis. One wrong turn and chomp. They can take a massive bite out of what you've spent decades building. That's why every retirement needs an asset preservation plan. What happens if the market goes through a 2000, 2001, 2002? What happens if there is a healthcare crisis that affects you? Maybe some of the worst times possible in retirement. You get one shot at retirement. Stop chasing dots. Stop hoping that these ghosts just won't catch you. Let's see if your plan is ready to protect you. It's only going to take 3 minutes. I want you to go to owquiz.com and you're going to find out real quickly where you stand in this whole game so you can be and stay retirement ready.
All of these are tools that we're sending you to, and the tools are all inside the book, the 5 agreements to be and stay retirement ready. We will send it to you for free. You scan the QR code, whether you're in Indianapolis or in Kentucky or in Ohio. We want you to have this. We want you to be armed. Talking about debunking some of the myths. How long are we going to spend in retirement? What's our average now?
Right now, you're looking at a 65-year-old is going to spend 25, but we're seeing folks 30, 35 years. And this is so important because think about this. If the modern retiree right now is going to live 30 years in retirement, and if we're looking at recent projections of $350,000 to $400,000 for almost 70% of those are going to have to be spent on health care, and you now look at the possibility of higher taxes, God knows our spending's not been coming down. We're at a crossroads here, and we are sounding the alarm. I'm sounding the alarm if you're listening to this. If you have not done any tax planning, if you have not done any planning with where am I going to get money when things happen and potholes happen, and I need health care, I need this, how's that going to affect your overall tax situation? My goodness. The good book says this, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, it's wrong. It's wrong. You can control what you can control, and you start by having knowledge. How do you get knowledge? 𝑊ISETaxBill.com.
So 𝑊ISETaxBill.com will give us an idea of what you have put away. It's all about what you've been told. This is why we're debunking some of the myths that you have out there. The rules are not the same. And 𝑊ISETaxBill.com, Uncle Sam can change the rules whenever he wants to. What have you put away to be able to say, I've saved all of this? You can only spend what you get to keep. So let's put together a plan together for you to make sure that you have an understanding. The book is out there. The Wise Tax Bill is out there. The quiz is out there. It's an idea that how do we make people ready to do this for 25, 30,
Well, I think it's more
years.
than just retirement, and that's why we say to be and stay retirement ready. And to understand the impact of the decisions we make. We can control where we're taking hidden risk. We can't control how much of our money is sitting in tax-deferred accounts that we just kick down the road. Those are decisions. But if you're not meeting with a professional and understanding that it's more than just how much can my account grow this year, it turns out to ROI, not return on investments, return of income, and how it could be most tax efficient. You get one shot at retirement. Today's the day to make that change. Thank you for watching. We're going to see you next week.
From tax time bombs to Social Security insecurities, strategic investments that help clean up your junk drawer and keep your income engine running smoothly at Omega Wealth Private Capital. We're fiduciary, independent, holistic wealth advisors, and we're here to turn your have-tos into get-tos. So, would you like your retirement dreams to move from good to great? Give us a call. It's what we do because we really want to. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope to see you in the office. Until then, I'm Brad Johansson. We'll see you next time on Wise Money.